comedy by Dante Alighieri. Inferno, Canto 1. In the midway of this, our mortal life, I found me in a gloomy wood, astray, gone from the path direct. And e'en to tell it were no easy task, how savage wild that forest, how robust and rough its growth, which to remember only my dismay renews, in bitterness not far from death. Yet to discourse of what there good befell, and else I will relate discovered there. How first I entered it, I scarce can say. Such sleepy dullness in an instant weighed my senses down. When the true path I'd left, but when a mountain's foot I had reached, where closed the valley that had pierced my heart with dread. I looked aloft, and when I saw his shoulders broad, I had already vested with that planet's beam, who leads all wanderers safe through every way. Then was a little respite to the fear, that in all my heart's recesses deep had lain, all of that night so pitifully past. And as a man with difficult, short breath, forespent with toiling, scaped from the sea to shore, turns to the precarious wild waste, and stands at gaze, e'en so my spirit that yet failed, struggling with terror, turned to my view the straits that none hath passed and lived. My weary frame, after a short pause reformed, again I journeyed on over to the lonely steep. The hinder foot still firmer, scarce the accent began when, lo, a panther, nimble, light, and covered with a speckled skin appeared, nor when it saw me, vanished. Rather strove to check my onward going, that oft-times with purpose to retrace my steps I turned. The hour was morning's prime, and on his way aloft the sun ascended with the stars. That with him rose when love's divine first moved, though its fair works so that in the joyous hope all things conspired to fill me. The gay skin of that swift animal, the matin dawn and the sweet season, soon that joy was chased, and by new dread succeeded, when in view a lion came, 'gainst me as it appeared with its head held aloft and hunger mad. That e'en the air was fear-struck, a she-wolf was at his heels, who in her leanness seemed full of wants, and many a land hath made disconsolate ere now. She with such fear overwhelmed me, at the sight of her appalled that of the height all hope I'd lost, as one who with his gain elated sees the time when all unawares is gone. He inwardly mourns with his heart gripping anguish. Such was I, haunted by that fell beast never at peace, who coming over against me by degrees impelled me where the sun in silence rests. Where the lower space and backward step I fell, my keen discerned the form of one whose voice seemed faint through a long disguise of speech. When him in that great desert I espied, "Have mercy on me," I cried aloud, "spirit or living man, whatever thou be." He answered, "Now not man, man once I was, and born of Lombard parents, Mantuans both. By country, when the power of Julius yet was scarcely firm. At Rome my life was passed, beneath the mild Augustus in the time of the fabled deities and false. A bard was I, and made Anchises' upright son the subject of my song, who came from Troy. When the flames preyed on Illume's haughty towers, by thou say wherefore to such perils past return'st thou? Wherefore not this pleasant mount ascend cause and source of all delight? And art thou then Virgil, that wellspring from which such capacious floods of eloquence have issued?" I with front abashed replied, "Glory and light of all the tuneful train, may it avail me that I long with zeal have sought thy volume, and with love immense have coned over, my master thou and guide. Thou he from whom alone have derived that style which for its beauty into fame exalts me. See the beast from whom I fled, oh save me from her, thou illustrious sage, for every vein and pulse throughout my frame she hath made me tremble." He, soon as he saw that I was weeping, answered, thou must needs another way pursue. If thou wouldst escape from the savage wilderness, this beast at whom thou criest, her way will suffer none to pass, and no less hindrance makes than death. So bad and so accursed is her kind, that never sated in her ravenous will, and still after food and more craving than before. To many an animal in wedlock vile she fastens, and shall yet many more, until that greyhound come, who shall destroy her with sharp pain. He will not life support by earth nor its base metals, but by love, wisdom, and virtue, and in his land shall be the land twixt either feltro. In his might shall safety fall to Italia's plains arise, for whom fair realm Camilla, the virgin pure, Nisus, Eurylius, and Turnius fell. He with insolent chase through every town shall worry, until he to hell at length restore her. Thence by envy first let loose, I for thy profit pondering now devise that thou mayst follow me, and I, thy guide, will lead thee hence through the eternal place, where thou shalt hear despairing shrieks, and see the spirits of old tormented who invoke a second death. And those who next view, who dwell content in fire, for that they hope to come wherever the time may be among the blessed, into whose regions if thou then desire to ascend, a spirit worthier than I must lead thee, in whose charge, when I depart, thou shalt be left, for that almighty king who reigns above, a rebel to his law adjudges me, and therefore hath decreed that to his city none through me should come. He in all parts hath sway, 3 rules, 3 holds, his citadel and throne. O happy those whom there he accuses. I to him in few, Bard, by that God whom thou didst not adore, I do beseech thee, that this ill and worse I may escape, to lead me where thou sayest that I St. Peter's gate may view, and those who, as thou tellest, are in such dismal plight. Onward he moved. I close his steps pursued.